What radio? The music you want.
With your host, KeysDAN.
Hello! RadioWhat.com. What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What Studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, I invite you. Please go to DJLittleRock.com. If you're in the Arkansas area, my show's this week, Thursday. Come out to the Old Post. That's Thursday, May 9th. Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. Come to a karaoke show. It's a video dance party, karaoke jam. You could sing. If you sing in the shower, if you sing in your car, if you sing in your bedroom, you could sing at the Old Post Barbecue. Have some good barbecue. Have some good drinks. Yeah, they got drinks. That's right. It's a little liquid courage to get you singing at the Old Post Barbecue. That's Thursday night, May 9th from 6 to 9. Come out to the Old Post Barbecue in Russellville, Arkansas. And then on May 10th, Friday, gonna sing on Friday. I kind of sound like Ethel Merman when I did that. You're gonna sing. Yeah, you are. That sounds terrible. I'm a terrible Ethel Merman. Come out to the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. That's my usual Friday night spot. Karaoke, video dance party. They got a pool tournament going on. If you want to make some money on a Friday night, I encourage you, get to the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Join the pool tournament and then sing some songs with little old me. And they also have a full bar. And the hottest bar staff in the whole wide world. Hey, that's my humble opinion. And since you're listening to my podcast, you must value said opinion. You should come out to the Rab. They got a kitchen that's open as well with featuring Jersey Girl Pizza. Get to the Rab Friday night. Can I say it enough? Rab, Conway, Arkansas. Friday nights. That starts at 8 o'clock. And then we don't stop till around 2 in the a.m. Yeah, way past your bedtime. And then Saturday this week, I got nothing. You know, I'm probably going to fill it up with podcasts, with interviews and conversations. I don't even like to call these interviews. They're conversations because they go back and forth. A lot of times somebody will touch on something and then I'll have a memory pop in my head and I'm not afraid to say something. I know it's all about you, but some of it's about me, a little bit, little tiny tidbit. And that's in the What Makes You Famous. I've had people say, hey, you know, I got to turn this around on you, KeysDAN, and get your story. What makes you famous? Well, you get my story in little tidbits, little here and there's. People get to know about me when you listen to all the podcasts. Eventually, you'll put them all together and you'll go, oh, okay, so that's KeysDAN's life story. So maybe that'll be, 50 years from now when I'm 100. Yeah. I'll still be doing this. Today's episode, my friends, is Jenice Alexander. Jenice Alexander. What did I know? What do I know about Jenice Alexander? Well, all I knew before I started this podcast with her was that she's a great singer and a great mama and a great wife. Well, at least that's what her hubby says. And I didn't know much about her. I didn't want to put her in that little box. Jenice Alexander, singer extraordinaire. She's so much more. And you're going to find out a little bit about how much more when you listen to this podcast. So without further ado, let's get into it. Jenice Alexander, what makes you famous? So, We're sitting here in your office at Century 21. I had no idea you were into real estate at all. I thought you were just this great singer. That you were like, superstar bound, heading for The Voice. Everybody claps when you come to karaoke.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's you. But you're so much more. In this podcast, I usually do where you're from, where you are, and where you're going. And it's just a conversation. It's really not any kind of an interview. We go back and forth. Sometimes when you touch on things, I might say, oh yeah, that kind of reminds me of this. And then I'll say a little something about me, but it's mostly about you. It's what makes you famous. And everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has where they're from, which is where you're from. Where are you from?
Oh my goodness. Well, I was born in Demopolis, Alabama.
Yep.
I lived in Alabama for a few years, and by the time I graduated high school in Dardanelle, Arkansas in 1994, if that tells my age, that was my 17th school. So,
okay.
So I moved around quite a bit.
Tell me everything. Why?
My parents put me into a children's home when I was younger. So at the age of 7, I was in a children's home. And so I was there till my teen years and just kind of moved around quite a bit. But it helped with the line of work I've chosen because I never meet a stranger. So I remember my first memory singing, because that's how I met you.
Sure.
My first memory singing, I was about 5 years old, and we lived in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And there was a bar that my parents would go to quite frequently. And my daddy sounded, I swear when he sang, he sounded like Elvis. Oh, he was absolutely awesome, but he had stage fright. So he would never get up in front of a crowd, but he sure didn't mind putting me up in front of a crowd. So he put me up on the bar, and I sang You Are My Sunshine. Yeah. And they threw change at me, and I started crying because I thought it was to shut me up.
Aww.
But that was my earliest memory of singing, was You Are My Sunshine. And I sang quite a bit in my teenage years, but it was mostly by myself. I didn't get in front of a crowd till I was 15. 15 years old, I was singing at the Southern Baptist Convention Center in Pass Christian, Mississippi. And that was my first in front of at least, 5,000 to 7,000 people, and I was absolutely petrified. But I sang an Amy Grant song, and they seemed to really like me and asked me to come back. And so that was like, holy crap, I'm on key and they like me. So music was like the acceptance that I needed, and it was my therapy. And from time to time, everybody will see me post on Facebook, music therapy. I got to find a karaoke spot because that's my outlet.
Yeah, you do.
So
this is around 1991 that you're, I guess, around 15 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. So music has been a part of your life since the beginning. Mm-hmm. And Dad instilled that into you. Mm-hmm. Now, Dad was just singing around the house all the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would sing. He would, the radio, or let him get some Seagram 7 and 7, and he would sing for hours and hours at a time. So, yeah, my daddy was, he was a good man. He passed away about 5-6 years ago, and yeah, and that's part of it. I was a daddy's girl too, so
sure.
I moved him up here from Alabama, and he stayed here with me till he passed. And he would take me everywhere to sing, but yeah, he liked to hear me. Yeah, so that's probably why I did it so much.
And then Mama?
Mom is the best cheerleader in the whole world.
Oh yeah.
She shows up and she screams and hollers, and she lives in Bologna with my brother. And she'll come hear me whenever I will go pick her up, and yeah, she's a great cheerleader. She did choir in school, but she's never had the drive to get up and sing in front of people by herself. She says, "Oh no, honey, you go right ahead. You sing all you want to." So she's from Alabama, and she has that Southern accent. So,
but she's a good singer too.
Yeah. I mean, I remember her singing to me when I was little. She'd sing Crimson and Clover and, just American Pie and, songs from that generation. And she had a love for music too, but Daddy was really the one that was like, holy cow, he could have been professional. But my granny said, no, he has stage fright. He won't do it. But he'd sure take me everywhere to sing.
Yeah. So you had them singing, and they're very supportive in the bubble, in the family bubble.
Absolutely.
So how many siblings do you have?
I have an older brother. He's 3 years and 3 months older than I am.
What does he do?
He's a truck driver. He can also sing. He sang a couple times for you. He's 7'2", and he's a big old boy, and he likes, his influences were Hank Williams Jr. and, Waylon Jennings and all the great, good core country artists that we grew up on. But yeah, he can play guitar and he can sing, and I would get so jealous because he could play that guitar and I could not play. So finally I made myself sit down and learn, and I can play by ear, but I can play or I can sing. I'm not a multitasker.
Right.
So.
And I'm sure when he's driving around that truck, he's probably singing to himself the whole time.
All the time.
Get on that CB and start singing to the other truckers.
He should. He's really good. Yeah.
Hey, everybody jump on channel 4. I'm going to sing to you for a little bit. All right.
Yeah.
I can see. I'm just imagining that. Cross-country trucking. Hey, when you're out there, you have nothing to do. You might as well fill your time up with good songs.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay. When you were in school, did you have a lot of friends?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I moved around so much, so I had to learn to make friends quickly. I'd enter talent shows, and I'd stayed in choir, and so the music stayed with me through that. Next weekend, I'm headed back to the orphanage that I grew up in. They're about to close it down, and we're doing a last reunion of everybody, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll go back next weekend and see people I haven't seen in 25, 30 years. And then I'm going to come up through Aberdeen, Mississippi is a place that I call home. Like, that's my home spot. That's where I remember Columbus, and Aberdeen, Mississippi is where I remember a lot of great childhood memories. So I'll stop there and see some best friends from high school, Beth Shields and Angie Johnson, and just a few of them. Kim Robo. We had a great little clique there for a little while, and we'd all get together and sing and make up dances, and those were my good teenage memories. So I want to revisit that.
So you were in the orphanage until when?
Let's see, I want to say 15, 16.
15, 16.
Yeah, somewhere.
Do you know anything about your birth parents?
Yeah, my biological parents, my dad that sang, my mother that sang, yes.
So how did you end up in the orphanage?
I must
have missed that.
No, it's okay. When I was about 7, my parents split up.
Oh, I got you.
And my daddy was a truck driver, just like my brother is, and he couldn't, you just can't raise a child driving cross country 48 states. No, and my mom was unable at that point to care for us. So we went into the children's home. The first one we went into was in Meridian, Mississippi, and it was called the Masonic Home for Children. Yeah. State come in and shut that one down, and then we were out for probably 6-8 months, what I remember. I don't know exact timelines, but then we went into...
You say Masonic?
Mm-hmm.
How was it being raised by Masons? I don't know a lot about the Masons. I'm curious about the Masons.
It was different. A lot of that time frame I have kind of mind blocked a little bit. I didn't get to, I knew my brother was there with me, but we didn't live in the same household, so they'd have us separated by groups of children, and we'd all eat together, but they would take us around singing at churches for donations, and that's where I learned to clog. 2 years of clogging, like that will ever do me any good ever.
Oh, yeah. I want you clogging. No. We're going to do a little clog fest.
Absolutely not. But so we would dance and meet other Shriners, and they had different kind of rituals, which was strange to me. I remember vague parts of, their practice, and I don't know, it was different. So, but the state come in and shut that one down. It's now been opened by Sella Ward, and it's called Hope Village.
Another orphanage then?
I believe so. I'm not really sure what they do. I kind of check in it from time to time, but I knew that the actress on TV is the one that bought them out, and they do something with children there. I'm just not sure to what degree.
And this is where?
Meridian, Mississippi.
Meridian, Mississippi. Small town?
Not too much. It's right on the Alabama line, and gosh, I don't know how big it is now. I haven't been there in probably 15, 20 years, but I remember it being such a beautiful town. And I remember they would have their carousel horses all over the town. That was their thing. There's carousel horses. So those are just kind of pictures. They had a carousel in the town that people would go for birthday parties and stuff. And then just randomly across town, you would see a horse with some type of plaque talking about it.
One of my favorite things to ride is a carousel.
Yeah, is it
for
really?
Sure. For sure.
It.
You know, roller coaster, all right. Yeah, I get scared and what have you. But yeah, a nice carousel. You know, just chill out and go in a circle and just look at stuff.
That's it. Takes you back.
All right. So, man, you're growing up in an orphanage. All right, and you went to different orphanages. This is until you're 15.
Yeah.
And you got to meet a lot of different people. But did you get to stay in contact with anybody?
Thank goodness for Facebook, because that was my way to reconnect with everyone. Little by little, I mean, in my mind, you know, I'm thinking I move away in a year or two, they forget me, and they didn't. So that was really cool, being able to go back. I did get to go back. It's been about 8 years since I've seen her, but Patricia, sister that I grew up with in the children's home, we stopped by through there, and it had been 23 years since I'd seen her.
Wow.
And just the reconnection was absolutely awesome. So that's what I expect to happen next weekend too, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, I'm excited for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because what I'm visualizing is I remember the Peter Pan with Robin Williams. What was that? Hook.
Yes.
Hook.
Yes.
And the beginning was him with all the orphans, and that's what I'm picturing is going to be you just connecting with all these kids that grew up in this orphanage. So was it a good time, or was it Matilda? Or was it,
the first one was pretty horrific.
Okay.
But the second one was, you know, there are times where I'm like,
well, tell me about the first one. How so?
There were people there that did things to children that shouldn't have, and that's why the state came in and shut it down. That one's real hard to kind of talk about.
You can talk a little bit about it if you'd like.
Well,
could help somebody.
It could. There was an incident. I was going to school one day, and the house parent inappropriately touched me. And I reported it, and nobody did anything, so I kept reporting it. And finally I talked to the principal at school, and the principal contacted social services, and they interviewed all the girls that lived in our house, and turns out every one of them had been touched. And not only did he here I am, 8 years old, 9 years old. And so not only did that happen in my house, but the teenage girls, there were instances where they were running away, and finally the state came in and made sure he was charged and put away, and the state shut down the home. So that's when I went to Palmer Home in Columbus, and it was a very scary time, because here I am like, here we go again, whole new people, but they weren't. They were really good, and I think that's where I learned my work ethic and core values, and just basically it's okay to allow someone to be nice to you and to love them back. So.
Yeah, so at 8 years old, you got trust issues for sure.
Absolutely.
Anybody in authority, but you did the right thing. Kids, hey, if something's happening to you, you report it and keep reporting it.
Keep going.
And something will happen. You know.
Absolutely.
So. All right, so you got to the next place, and they treated you real nice.
Yeah, they were really good. We had to get up and work. And, I was taught then, nothing ever is going to be given to you. If you want anything, you've absolutely got to work for it. Don't depend on anybody else to take care of you. Learn to take care of yourself. And that's probably the biggest lesson that I hope that I've been able to pass down to my children, because I have quite a few of them. And I wanted a big family. I knew I wanted a big family, and they've learned that quite well. I'm very blessed with good children.
So how's the bunking situation in an orphanage? Do you sleep all in a row of beds like in the movies?
No, it's a normal house. There would be 4 bedrooms on one side and 4 on the other. And you would have a roommate. So it was just like a regular bedroom. They had a Jack and Jill bath, so we'd have a bedroom, bathroom in the middle, and we'd just have a roommate. And we had our rules. You had to keep your chores done. You had to keep your clothes done. You had to wash dishes. You had to And 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evenings, they'd ring the bell, and we'd all leave from, there were houses all over the campus, and all the kids from the houses would go to the great dining hall, and we'd all eat together, and there'd probably be, 75 of us there eating, and so the food was always the greatest. Miss Inez was the cook, and she had the greatest chicken in the whole world.
Shout out to Inez.
Yes. I don't know. Looking back, it was probably what made me into the person that I am today. So it was a good spot for me.
Yeah, I don't mind core values. I see a lot of kids that are on their computers all the time and in their phones, but yeah, teach them some chores. Mm-hmm. I mean, my goodness, moms and dads, that's why we have kids. So they can go out and mow the lawn, right? Wash the car.
Absolutely.
Now, do the dishes. I have don't beat the children, but certainly teach them, give them some chores. Have them clean the bathroom, and hey, when they get old enough, do the laundry. And if they get even older, fix your car. So no, I got no problem with chores and what have you. That sounds like a great core value that was instilled from a young age at the orphanage. Yeah. So all right, we're in the orphanage. Any other hobbies that you were doing at this time?
Just music. I got brave enough in the 7th grade to go out for a talent show, and
still in the orphanage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was that wasn't as many as the Baptist Convention Center, but it was quite a few. And I stood on stage and I sang the theme from Ice Castles and got first place.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty cool.
What was your competition like? Who were you going against?
A junior. Here I am in 7th grade, and I was going against an 11th grader, and I was absolutely petrified, but I had the loudest cheering section.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty good. Those kind of come back in flashes. So we had a choir group within the orphanage, and there would be 10 or 12 of us that would travel and sing, and I was in that, but I didn't ever do solos because I wanted to learn harmony, and I absolutely love harmony. But as I got older, I wanted to do more solo work.
So, all right. So you work well with others. Harmony.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you can also go solo. So baseball, part of a team on the outfield, and then when you get up to bat, you're a solo artist.
There you go.
Sports talk. I'm just trying to be more manly here. I don't know sports. I don't know sports at all.
Me either.
I even worked on a sports radio down in Little Rock. I knew nothing.
Oh my! I didn't.
But I learned some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is what I'm doing. I'm learning about you, Jenice Alexander. So, all right, we get to 15 years old, and this is a turning point. You get out of the orphanage. What happened? What changed?
My dad came and got us, and he provided a stable home for us. Him and my mom had gotten back together, and things were good, and stayed with them. We moved. My mom had a tumor in her throat, and we went to Memphis, Tennessee for treatment for her. And while she was there, she met her biological father, which brought us to Russellville, Arkansas, where he's from, Honeycutt, Ira Honeycutt. Mm-hmm. And so we moved down there, and I graduated in Dardanelle, and quickly married right after graduation, and gave birth to 4 children fairly quickly.
What? You just spit them out.
Yeah, well, the first 2 are 17 months apart, Victoria and Alexis, and then I have Whitley, and then Christopher. And divorced about 8 years ago and started over again, and turns out that divorce was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, sometimes
somebody should have been shaking my hand, telling me, congratulations, your life is starting over, here's your new chance. And then I meet Josh, and he's my knight in shining armor. He took me out of a very bad spot and loved my kids unconditionally, and I knew he was such a good man because he had custody of his 3 children, and for a man to get custody of their children in Arkansas is like, wow. And so that spoke to his caliber. And he proposed to me within the first couple of months of us meeting, and I waited 2 years before I married him, and we got married April 16th of 2013.
Hey, mazel tov.
Yeah, thank you.
So, all right.
He's a good man.
Being a child of divorce, I like to delve into that. What took your parents apart? Was it just, I mean, it wasn't it didn't seem like it's
divorced.
a lack of love. Okay, they never divorced.
They never divorced.
It just was his job and the trucking and having to be apart. Okay, so that was what it was. I don't think there was a lack of love there, because it looks like you had love the whole time.
Absolutely.
And did they come, I guess they came around and visited with you
from time to time? They would come, they would come at Christmases. They would get to take us home, and, there were certain holidays, or they'd send stuff for my birthday. So there was constant contact there. It wasn't that I was just left there, but you become grateful for still having biological parents in your life, because there were siblings there that absolutely had no contact with their parents. Tanya Manning, one of my roommates and sisters in the home, she was brought there as a baby, and I remember, I think she was around 12, 13, and her biological parents came. She didn't even want nothing to do with them, because that connection was gone. So I was grateful to still have that connection with my parents. They had some crazy decisions going on, but, in the end, they got back together and made it work. And it showed me that, you try no matter what before you just end in divorce, and you have to be at that point to go, okay, I've got to make a change, and that change affects everyone around you, so it's a scary change to have to make, but for me it worked out very well.
Yeah. So all right, so not all the orphans are children that have no parents.
Right, correct.
So orphanages are just a place, hey, sometimes the parents can't handle things, and see, I had no idea. I thought that all the orphans were just
parents gone.
I'm sorry, parents are gone.
No, they've Palmer Home for Children is started in Columbus, Mississippi, and I believe now they've opened up a secondary campus in Hernando, Mississippi, outside of Memphis, and they've made the decision to shut down the Columbus campus where I grew up. So they sent out emails, and all of us contacted each other, and so we'll get to do that reunion next weekend. And then maybe on the way back, I'll stop and visit the new campus. But I just want to see home one last time before they shut it down. So, yeah.
All right. So we get into just out of high school. And what do you do after high school? Or how was high school? How was your high school life?
Absolutely. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, but it's not something I'd ever want to go back and relive again. I'm definitely glad to be out of high school.
No 10-year reunions for you?
No. I mean, I keep in contact with people on Facebook, but, Aberdeen to me was where I'd initially wanted to graduate from, and I connected with people in Dardanelle, but again, my senior year, I'm starting a new school.
Dardanelle High School.
Yeah. And so there's not that core connection. All those kids had been together since kindergarten, and here I am, a girl coming from Mississippi that nobody really knows, and so it was very difficult to connect and be in that clique. But I had choir, and luckily that senior year of high school, my choir director was also new. And his name was Joe Fisher, and he was remarkable. He just kind of took me under his wing, and he'd take me to sing everywhere too. Even on Sundays, I'd sing at his church, and he just kept encouraging me and pushing me and saying, do it. There's a play, go try out for a play called Godspell. And I was like, I don't know if I can remember lines. He was like, just do it. And I did, and I got it. And so he kept pushing me. And so that was keeping my mind off of, because I was made fun of quite a bit and put down, and so it was a bully situation, but that's okay. I got out of it, and it made me stronger in who I am now. So
Dardanelle, Arkansas, kind of a small town, a little spread out, but enough kids to warrant, grade school, middle school, and high school, and so you're doing plays and you're singing still. Music is all throughout your life so far. This is the glue that holds your life together. Yes. So after after high school, did you go to college? Anything?
I did. I had a 4-year scholarship to Arkansas Tech for vocal performance. I wanted to be a music teacher. I thought, man, there'd be nothing cooler than teaching little kids music, and they have instruments and they play. And then I realized very quickly that I don't like other people's kids, and I'm not trying to catch a charge, so I better figure out something else to do pretty quick. So I started work in 1998.
Well, did you end up graduating from Arkansas Tech?
No, I didn't.
In Russellville, Arkansas?
Yeah, I went for just a short time. I did not graduate.
Okay.
I made the decision to just jump into the working field because I'm pregnant and having my first child in 1995, and then I had another one in 1996. And so my foundation for my career as far as work goes started at Heritage in 1998, and I worked that job for 17 years.
What's Heritage?
Nonprofit, call center, like Special Olympics, Children's Wish, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They do the representation for nonprofits and do the fundraising for them.
Fundraising. Okay, I know I've heard of Heritage.
It used to be here in Conway.
I know they employ a lot of people that I've met over the years, and I knew they had something to do with the call center, but I don't know what Heritage is. So you just make cold calls, I guess?
Yeah, well, not always cold, but yeah, we called out and would raise funds for my brother. For a short period of time participated in Special Olympics, so there was that connection there for me. And so we would call for Special Olympics and Children's Wish, multiple sclerosis, just various organizations, and raise the funds. And so when people would mail in their money to the organization that we called for, they, it was tax deductible 501c3 type charity stuff.
Yeah, so does that give you a good feeling, I guess?
I enjoyed it very much because I felt the connection to what we did, and we get the availability to go out to the Special Olympics and see the games in person and be a part of what we help raise support for. And to me, that was huge. I felt like it was a life-changing type job. Anywhere where you can donate your time and work hard towards that, and you can see someone come out of it and be able to participate, and they don't care if they come in first, second, or third. Just the opportunity to get out there and be the best that they could be was all that mattered. And to me, that was huge.
Did you get to be a hugger?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every kid gets to be, no matter what, they get a hug and a snack as they cross the finish line. So
yeah, I did that in Miami. That was fun.
Did you? Yeah,
did it with the Miami Dolphins and the Hurricanes, and
awesome.
Yeah, when I was working on the radio down there, we got to be involved in a lot of different activities. I mean, not just charity organizations, but a lot of different things.
Absolutely.
And I was a firefighter down in Key Largo, so so that hey, call the fire department. They'll come out and be a judge or do something, or
That's
so that was
awesome.
That was kind of fun. Being a part of that, and their faces when you see them cross the finish line. I don't care, first, second, third,
Doesn't
18th,
matter.
80th. Yeah, they're still smiling on the way by.
One specific race where one of the kids fell, and the others turned around, stopped, helped him, and carried him past the finish line. And I'm like, my goodness, that's all of humanity right there restored.
That's right.
Yes,
that is
it's so
love
cool.
in a box right there.
Absolutely. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have the chance, help out the Special Olympics, man. They'll get a good feeling, and you'll get an even better feeling for sure. Look them up. Look them up online. Google it now. Here, put the podcast on pause and go ahead and go Google the Special Olympics. Find out how you can be involved, and then come back and play.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But all right, so this is after college. You're at Heritage, and you're helping out some charities, and you say 17 years.
17 years.
I mean, you're only 25 right now, so it's the math doesn't add up, really. Okay, so all right.
16, 17, somewhere there. So I worked there from 98 to 2016. Somewhere in there, do the math there. I can't do it that fast.
Yeah, and you got the 4 kids there?
Yeah, I've got, had the 4 kids while I was working, or 2 more were born after I was working at Heritage. And
married at this time? Okay.
Stayed married till 2011. I moved to Conway Toad Suck Weekend, May of 2011.
Hey, and here it is, Toad Suck Weekend again.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, it is Cinco de Mayo. Yesterday was May the 4th be with you. So happy Cinco de Mayo to the people out there. And it is Toad Suck Weekend.
Yep.
And if you get a chance, ever, Conway is not known for a lot of things, but certainly Toad Suck is one of those things that it's the festival. Conway may not be the smallest town. There's the sign says 58,000, and it might be a bit more than that. It's a college town. There's a lot of colleges here, not just UCA, University of Central Arkansas, but yeah, toads suck. The whole downtown gets shut down, and there's lots of activities there.
It is.
So I didn't get a chance to go by, and I probably go by on the way back from your fine office here at Century 21. We'll get into that. Shout out to Century 21.
Okay.
But going back, you moved to Conway from where?
From Russellville.
From Russellville. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were at Arkansas Tech, and you moved to Conway. What brought you to Conway?
That husband of mine, we met, and we're just pretty much inseparable. He swept me off of my feet. I was living in Russellville, Dover area, and just went through my divorce and felt like I just needed to change from that area. Everywhere I drove was a memory of my past, and I wanted to start over, and I'm still young, so I moved, and I love it. I love Conway so much that next to Aberdeen is my home. I felt the connection instantly. The people here are remarkable. The landscape is beautiful. You can tell when people actually care about a city because these people in our community are absolutely fantastic. So I feel the connection of Conway. It was the home that I craved as a child. I found it here. So yeah.
Myself, when I looked to moving from Miami and the Florida Keys. Okay, the Florida Keys, ocean on this side, Gulf of Mexico on that side. You could stand on your roof and look at the ocean on both sides. What brought me to Conway was definitely the way that the city is structured, first of all, and Conway Core.
Yeah.
Conway Core.
Cool?
Just the way that it's your utilities are structured. If you're buying a house, maybe you'll spend a little bit more than the outskirts, the Greenbrier, the Mayflower, the Morrilton areas. You might spend a little bit more on a house, but the Conway Core more than makes up for it. Because if you try to buy a house in all those outskirts outside of Conway Core, you're going to be spending double on your utilities.
Utilities are dramatically higher in outer lying areas. Everything is billed individually and separately, and we do have people that relocate to the area just for Conway Court.
Yeah.
I love that structure that they offer here. It's really cool. And so when I have someone that comes here from out of state, and sometimes they know what it is and sometimes they don't, that's definitely a luxury for our city that is very beneficial.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we're kind of alluding to where you're at now, what's happening. Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
You get to Conway, and what do you start doing?
I'm still working at Heritage at this time, and I can feel the decline. I'm a trainer recruiter at Heritage, and you can kind of feel it just start to go downhill. We had some changes in the leadership team, and the founder had passed away, and still operational today. They are headquartered out of Little Rock. I was offered a position at Little Rock when they closed the Conway facility in January of 2016. I was offered to go to Little Rock, but my husband, the previous year, September of 2015. Yeah.
Was he your husband at the time?
Yeah, we were married in 2013, so yeah.
Wow, okay.
He's like, don't you want to do anything else because you feel like that's kind of going down? And I'm like, well, I've always had an interest in real estate, you know. I've had 2 major surgeries. There were tumors in my throat. So the childhood dream that I would be a singer someday just kind of slowly faded away.
Wait, so there's tumors in your throat and your mom?
Yeah, see, there's a scar on my neck.
Yeah. You didn't mention that part.
I know. This stuff kind of comes and goes. This is short-term memory loss and 43.
No, I get it.
So when I was pregnant with Whitley, my 3rd child, she was born April the 8th of 99. While I was pregnant with her, they discovered that I had something going on with my thyroid.
Wow.
And the doctors in Arkansas wanted to do an operation and remove my voice box, and I'd never be able to talk again.
No, thank you.
My grandmother was in Mississippi, and I went to stay with her and got treatment there. And all my hair fell out, all that good junk. Grew back curly, it's the craziest thing, but I was able to keep my voice. Tumor come back, and I had to have surgery, and it was really close and wrapped around my vocal cords, and I wish that I could remember the doctor's name in Little Rock, but he was fantastic. He said, there's a lady that flies in from Broadway, and she's a singer. She makes $1 million a year. She trusted me. If you will trust me, I will take care of you. And I was like, I don't have any choice, so here we go.
Right.
It was Hurthle cell carcinoma is what they had initially pulled out of the tumor when they tested it, and luckily they got it all, and I've been good, and I go for checkups, and I take my thyroid medicine. I'm supposed to take it every day, but I forget. But that's literally all I have to do now. So yeah, it was a pretty major surgery, and so I had that childhood dream that I would always be a singer, but it did change my voice a little bit. I can still sing, but not to the degree that I could. And so when my husband's asked me, he was like, you can sing, you can do whatever you want. Just, find something that you actually want to do. So when I found out Heritage, because I thought I'd retire from Heritage, 17 years at a job's a long time, and I loved it so much. So I thought, well, I love Conway, I love houses, I'm always watching HGTV, I'm always watching Property Brothers, I had that interest in real estate, and I don't meet a stranger. So I turned the technique of sales that I learned dealing with nonprofit organizations over into real estate.
Yeah.
And I took the classes 3 weekends in a row, September of 15, and when they shut Heritage down on January the 3rd, January the 4th, I went and took my state exam and passed it on the first try and took off.
Oh, since 2016 then?
Yeah.
You said
18.
January.
I'm trying to get if it was 16 or 17, but it was January the 3rd or January 4th that I started here. And I interviewed with Mark Burrier, who is the principal broker here at Century 21 Legacy, and I was like, Mark, how much do you see me actually making it? He's like, I'll be honest with you and tell you, 97% of agents in their first year don't make it. So for anybody to tell you that it's easy, they're lying. And to me, they teach us in school, there's so many things that you have to be liable for as an agent. And it kind of had me cautious and scared because it's a very tricky business. You've got to know your stuff. And I told him, I was like, if I get lost at 10 o'clock at night trying to fill out an exclusive right to sell agreement or a residential contract, can I call you? Are you going to help me? And he's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
And he does. And I have had to call him many times and him walk me through or explain to me. And he's got such knowledge and a passion for real estate. And he loves real estate the way that I connected to music.
Sure.
And you can tell it because he just lives it. And he's been able to teach me so much. So I went from making very minimum in my first year. I sold 14 houses at 1.4 million, and I'm like
14 houses.
Yeah, 14.
That's a lot of houses.
11 or 14. See my numbers. This is where I go. I keep a board and track everything that I'm doing. And then my second year, 38 houses at 6.2 million. So I did quite
a lot of houses.
A big jump. And then this year my goal is I'd like to do 70. I have 60 on the board because it's small, but I'd like to get up to 70 for this year. But I love it. It doesn't feel like work, and I'm still surprised that they pay me to do it because it's really cool. I love it.
And this is all in Conway that you're selling
Conway,
these houses?
well, I go Conway, Benton, Little Rock, Clinton, Greenbrier. I mean, all of Central Arkansas I service. Cabot, Beebe, anywhere.
Well, we kind of jumped there a little bit.
Yeah.
But, okay, the only way that you can do this is if you have a good, stable family life. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing that there's a man that provides that family life, or at least helps.
Yeah, he's a very good stay-at-home dad. And
what?
Yeah, he's we have a lot of kids, and so
7.
No, we have 8.
I lost one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
Ashley was the newest addition to our family a couple of months ago, and she's
hey,
she
mazel tov.
So, thank you. So we have Victoria.
So how did Ashley come
Ashley, there's a story there too. I knew her father a long time ago, and he lives in Worcester, and I asked for her to be able to stay with me because she doesn't have a connection to her biological mom, and he allowed it, and we're very grateful for that because she stays with some with me and some with him, but I love kids, and she came to be a part of my family, and she is my third oldest daughter, Whitley's half-sister.
See, that's why I lost the one kid, because one's brand new.
One's new. That's right. Yeah.
So all right, so you got 4 biological, 5 biological with
4 biological.
4 biological. Mm-hmm. And then he had 3 that came with him, and you became the Alexander bunch. The Alexander bunch. Yeah. Okay, I start singing in my head here. And then now explain again, where did the baby come from?
Well, she's not a baby. She's 17.
Okay, where did the baby Ashley, 17-year?
Yeah. She's Whitley's half sibling.
Oh, okay, from her pop.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now I'm getting it from A to B.
Yeah.
Which is not very far.
Yeah. So she came in our family, and she is a sophomore at Conway High School now, and we have one that'll be graduating. Allie Alexander will graduate May 19th. So we have Victoria, Alexis, Whitley, Allie, Christopher, Ethan, Ella, and Ashley.
Yeah. She remembers all the names.
I do.
Now, how often do you call them by the wrong names?
All the time. I start with the oldest and work my way down.
Yeah, I know who you are. You live here.
Oh, you. Come here. Yes.
And, okay, since in the orphanage you learned how to do chores, do you make them do chores?
Yeah, well, we have a rule at our house.
Okay.
It's not always followed, but if you've got honor roll grades, at 16, you get a job. You also get a cell phone, and you get a car.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will help them with their first vehicle, and they contribute $200 a month to household bills.
Yeah.
$200 a month. That pays for your car and your insurance and your cell phone. So you have to keep working to do that. And so far, it's proved very successful because Alexis works at Carmart here in Conway. She's been there for over 2 years. She is independent and does everything on her own, and she started off with that. Victoria, the oldest, didn't get that because I didn't have Josh at the time in that age period, and Josh is very helpful. So Alexis was the first of our kids that we got to do that with, and she contributed, and now she's on her own and pays her bills, no issues. Whitley, she got her car, she kept honor roll grades, she paid bills, and she's now moved out on her own. And now we have Allie, and Allie's got her car, and now she works at David's Burgers. So if you stop in over at the original David Burgers and you see that cute little redhead with the super short hair, please tell her hi, because that is my redheaded baby, and I love her. And she graduates with over a 4-point grade average. She got a 29 on her ACT.
Get it.
She is absolutely brilliant. And
now, this is the David's Burgers up on 65?
Yes. Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So everybody, shout out David's Burgers. Go see Allie and tell her good job on the honor roll.
Yeah. So she'll graduate May 19th.
Yeah.
And then I have Christopher. He works at McDonald's on Salem. So I have the kids scattered out through various fast food restaurants across Conway.
That's good. Keeps you fed. Keeps you healthy.
It does.
Well, maybe not healthy.
I've
been eating way too much fast food.
Same. It's very bad. So Christopher's at McDonald's on Salem, and then Ethan is at McDonald's on Dave Ward.
Yeah.
And so the only kid without a job is the 9-year-old, and she has chores at home that
you know what I got for my 9th birthday? A job.
I know, right? Yeah. So she helps out a lot at home, and she takes care of the dogs, and we have
good job.
Chores for her there. So.
Yeah. So parenthood. All right. You definitely have this. It seems like you have it all locked down. The kids are well behaved. I know the ones that I've seen. I guess Whitley's the one that I'm most familiar with, and she's a fantastic singer. Have they all been instilled with the singing bug?
Oh my goodness. They, for the most part, Victoria's just remarkable. Her voice is beautiful, and Alexis can harmonize. Alexis got the harmony from me, and she can sing, but she's like my dad. She don't like singing in front of people. So we have Victoria. Alexis. Whitley has been singing since she was 8 years old, and she's absolutely remarkable. I took Victoria and Whitley to try out for The Voice. They didn't make it. I took them to try out for American Idol, and Whitley made it past round 1, but didn't make it past round 2. So we're hoping one day we'll take her back. And let's see, Allie has made all region and every choir thing that there is. So she's absolutely remarkable. Christopher's still in choir. And the only two that don't want to sing is Ethan and Ella. And Ashley's in choir as well, but Ethan and Ella's like, we'll listen to music, but don't expect me to sing because it's not going to happen.
Well, did you put all these kids in the living room and say, the reason we had all of you is to start a band?
That's it.
Yeah, and then make millions of dollars and take care of us, right?
The Alexander 8, yes.
The Alexander 8.
Yes.
Oh, yes. You already got the band name.
That's it.
We're getting the band together. So does anybody play instruments?
We bought my son a guitar. He plays a little bit. Victoria can play by ear. Alexis can play by ear, and Whitley can play by ear. So they inherited that talent from me and my grandmother, because that's where I believe I got it from on my dad's side. Because she could just play. Oh my goodness, she could sit down at a piano and there was a story that and she would play the piano as she told the story about a little girl who starts to play and how she played like a little 5-year-old should, and as she grew, her playing got better, and it was like her life song, and it played until she became an angel in heaven, and she would just work that keyboard. I just loved it, so I wanted to be able to play like that, and I can play a little bit, but again, I said earlier, I'm not a multitasker. I can play or I can sing, and you can't get both.
I got you. Well, I have 3 guitars at home, and I can't play a lick. And on the podcast, I talked to a lot of musicians. The first musician that I talked to was Ryan Hinman. He works over at Palmer, and he fixes guitars, and he also teaches people how to play guitar. Now, he is a more structured person where he learns music and notes and such. And then I talked to Jason Lancaster, who he's kind of a metal guy, but he plays in a southern rock band, and he taught himself, and he doesn't really know a lot of structure, but he knows a little bit about reading notes and such. But the latest one, the one I just talked to last week, was Casey Sparks, and she taught herself how to play guitar just recently using YouTube and tabs and such. And she plays and sings.
Wow.
And this is just over the last couple of years.
Wow.
So YouTube folks, you can learn how to play guitar and use the other half of your brain. Now, I'm saying all this, I'll do it when I have some spare time. I don't have spare time, because every time I have spare time, I fill it with something else. Absolutely. Like this podcast, What Makes You Famous? I'm enjoying talking to people, including you, Jenice Alexander. See, this is how I reintroduce people. In case you forgot who I'm talking to, in case you're not looking at your device, Jenice Alexander is who I'm talking to here in Conway, Arkansas. So we got kids. They're very talented. They're very smart. They're well structured. You got them all jobs. Even the 9-year-olds got jobs at the house, to make her I guess maybe a little spending cash. Maybe. Oh, you get the allowances.
And she gets taken care of.
25 cents, kid.
Yeah. She gets taken care of. So we don't do allowance per se, but if I know she needs something, she gets what she needs, so she's good.
No, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah, I spoil my kid, but she doesn't get an allowance. But you want an iPod? Yeah, I'll get you an iPod. You're a good kid. You're good in school. I homeschool the kid, or we homeschool the kid, and I wondered about that. Now, your children, they go to public school?
Yes.
Okay. And then Josh, he's taking care of the house. He's a wow, man, cool dad. Excellent. What's he doing with his time at the?
He worked for the city of Conway for 6 years, and then we made the decision once I stepped into real estate. I didn't want our children to have that absent a parent, and I know with real estate it's going to be dedicated long hours, and for us to have that constant parental connection, we made the decision. I want to do it. Let me go for it. Yeah. And for him, it's he's always worked up until this, and he's learning that being a stay-at-home dad is just as hard as it is working, because we do have such a large family, and that does take commitment and time. And he's good though. I'm happy with my choice. I'm happy with his choice, and for right now, it's working. So we'll see.
if one parent has to work twice as hard to keep the other parent at home, I encourage that.
Yeah.
You know, call me old fashioned. Hey, old fashioned. No, I keep the wife at home, and she takes care of the kid, and she homeschools the kid, and then she takes care of the house. Everything inside the house is all her. You know, and the place is, hey, maybe it's not spotless, but it's definitely straightened up. Absolutely. You know, and it's nice to come home to that. It's nice to come home to somebody. Absolutely. Rather than to an empty house.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the kids feel that as well, I'm sure. When they come home, hey, it's not an empty house. One of the parents is always there.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. That's good structure right there.
Thank you.
And yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, hey, okay, let's do the elephant in the room. Men would feel emasculated being the stay-at-home dad. How's he feel?
Well, I can tell you that he was a very hardworking man prior to, and so starting this particular job, because being a stay-at-home dad is a full-time job.
For sure.
He's learned it's not just sitting at home watching soap operas. He has quite the extended chore list of his own.
Yeah.
And I was worried that he was worried, you know, I don't know for sure that I can do that, but he does. And the kids are taken care of, and he's happy, and I'm happy, so yeah.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do the job that she's doing. I am out on the streets working constantly, and twice as hard as a normal person would do. Just similarly to what you're doing. You say you start early and work late.
7 days a week. I'm real estate 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I will, and on my Facebook, that I will have third shift workers that will sometimes text me at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and if I'm up, I'll respond, because if they don't get access to me, they're going to find someone they can get access to. So I want my clients to be able to reach out and ask me questions. There's so much more to the home buying process than let's just go pick out a pretty house. I want to be able to service them from start to finish.
Well, with social media, that's a good thing, a good way to contact people. You can get in contact with anyone in the world on social media, which is great. But I find that, yes, you can work 7 days a week, and yet, yes, here we are on a Sunday morning in your office at Century 21 working, but I don't really consider this work. This is kind of my fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And I enjoy learning from people and about their lives and what they went through, and giving it out to my listeners as well, that, hey, maybe it's going to help somebody out there. But I don't even remember where I was going with this, but hey, you know, you get on a train and then the train derails. I don't edit. I'm not editing this. No, not even a little bit.
No edits.
No,
you do have to work constantly, though.
Yeah,
Anywhere that you go with any type of job that you take, to be good at it, it takes dedication. And I'm blessed with my line of work. My daughter had a senior project, Ashley. She was like, for my senior project, Mom, I want to ride with you and see what you do for a day. So this particular day, I had a showing in Benton, and so we loaded up, and I made her dress the part. If you're going to go with Mom, you got to dress the part. So we're going to show a client a home, and we show up in Benton, and we show the home, and we walk them through it. And,
which daughter was this?
Ashley.
Ashley, okay.
Yeah, and as we're leaving, my client turns around. He's like, "This is the one. We're going to write an offer on it." And so the house is listed at $489,000, and we were able to get an offer written and get it accepted. And so I get to read her report from it all, and to see how much she paid attention. You know, as I'm talking about contracts and deadlines, and from the time you get an offer accepted, you have 10 days to get your home inspection done and all this stuff. And she kept up, and it was really cool. So I have the availability to take my kids with them and see, so they can see what I do and not just hear about it.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting into, is you need to have a day off too. I try to keep Sunday as my lazy Sunday. This is the time that, I worked 6 days, you know, really hard. I did a wedding last night in Benton, and
wow.
Yeah, you were mentioning that about Benton, but that you do some sales out there as well, and it kind of. But yeah, I like to keep Sundays lazy. And this is my lazy Sunday, because here I am talking to a friend right here about what she does. And I know a little bit about you. I knew you were a great singer. And I know that when you come out to karaoke, for sure, people are just, oh, Jenice is here. We're gonna be great. This is gonna be great.
Oh, thank you.
And no pressure. Every time you sing, it needs to be, Celine Dion style. Celine Dion skyrocket style. But no, it's you got to have some time for you. Are you able to take some time off since you've been working here?
The karaoke is my therapy, so I take bits when I can.
Right.
I do have a big family vacation planned in October 6th through the 12th. I'll turn 44 on October 7th.
Hey,
and we are
birthday.
thank you, we'll be taking our family vacation to Jamaica
Ah,
on a
how about that?
cruise. So I will take 6 nights and 7 glorious days feeding myself and hitting the beach, and
So last Thursday at the Rab, when I was playing all the reggae, I was really just gearing you up.
channeling me for my vacation. Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right. So you do get time off. And now at Century 21, are you working for Century 21, or is it kind of like you're working for yourself at Century 21?
I'm a rare agent that is actually employed by the company.
Okay.
So he sat down and talked with me and offered me a staff position, so I get paid whether I sell a house or not. But it turns out that I really like selling houses, so it works for me. I specialize with first-time home buyers. I love that connection to see, I didn't have a home type spot growing up,
Sure.
And so to see that connection for a family when they are able to let their kids in the house and they run and pick their bedrooms and they're like, this is the one, and I get to help them and eventually hand them over the keys, that is the most rewarding that I can get. I love that.
Okay, so you're working for Century 21. I've seen movies to where they're kind of working for themselves. In fact, when they were answering the phone, they'll say their name and get your home with Joan, even though they're working for a different company. What is that something that you do, or are most agents working for themselves within the entity? You said that you're the rare person.
I'm the rare. We do have within our location here, I believe we have a little over 20 agents, and there are maybe 3 or 4 of us that are staff agents. So. Yeah.
So what are the other agents?
They're independent. I'm an independent as well, but my pay structure is a little bit different. So
what's the difference between an independent? What does an independent do?
They're responsible for, it just breaks it down to what you're able to pay for and what you're not able to pay for. So the independent agent, they pay for their own signs, they pay for their own fees, they pay for everything, and then they're offered a certain split. And then mine is, as a staff agent, they cover my fees, they cover everything for me, and then I am offered salary plus commission, so mine's a little bit different.
Yeah, tell me everything about real estate.
Yeah.
Now, so the schooling, you said you went 3 weeks in a row.
3 weekends in a row. We had to get 60 hours of education. You had to do your federal background check, and then you have to go take a state exam. And the state exam was horrendous, but I passed it and got that under my belt and started into it the next day.
See, well, that's cool that you can do it on the weekends, especially you're working a different job. You're still at Heritage, I'm guessing, doing that.
This is September. So, I went to Arkansas Real Estate School. Danny Bean is the instructor over there, and he's absolutely phenomenal. He would tell stories, and the stories would come up. I mean, I'm like, why is he telling this crazy story about a kid going down a river with barbed wire across? I'm like, why is he telling? Oh, okay, it relates to the test. So all those crazy stories he's telling me, when I'm sitting there taking that exam, they started coming back to me, and I was able to pass it on the first time. So he's absolutely great instructor. Cost about $500 for the school, $75 to take the state exam. You've got your local board fees, and you work out your independent or staff agent fees with your broker. So,
that's cheap.
Yeah, it really is.
That's really cheap to go to school, to have a career. So, commission on a house. If we can get into it. You sold a $500,000 house. What kind of commission do you get on something like that? Or is that something that can't be talked about?
Yeah, my broker would be calling, blowing up my phone.
I got you. I just wondered, is it worth it? And yeah, I see so
absolutely.
many.
And you got to have the connection to it more than the money. But
Sure,
luckily,
okay.
17 years of heritage, and I never broke 30,000.
Right.
And then my second year as a real estate agent almost doubled that. So
Right.
I'm headed way above even that for this year. So you get out of it what you put into it.
Okay.
We are always recruiting up here and looking for talent, and you just got to show that you're a worker and have a heart to work with the public. And it's been beneficial for me. So
Is it straight commission then?
for
Working at a real estate, or is it like a draw? Because I worked at Bally's Total Fitness. Yeah, you can see the shape I'm in. I worked there back in the 90s in Orlando, and I remember if I would sell $1,000 worth of $1,000 fitness goal, I guess it was 3 years, I would get $112. So that's working commission, and then I would have a draw. You get $650 a week, and then as soon as you pay that back, then anything else over and above, it's all yours as well. So is it similar on that kind of a pay structure?
No, ours is different, depending on what position that Mark hires you for. There's just different splits that they offer.
Yeah.
It's different based off of the experience that you come in with. So we're going to rank your experience and tell us, we'll tell you where we think you're at. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But for most everybody here, it's been working fairly well. So we're moving on up. I know when I initially started here, I believe we were number 8 or 9, and then we moved up to 6 and then up to 3. So we're working our way up. And it's really cool to start with the firm and see it grow. That's been the biggest thing. And I keep teasing Mark, telling him, he's like, what do you want? What do you want? What are your goals? I'm like, one day I'm going to buy you out.
Yeah.
And he just laughs at me and he said,
Put your own shingle out.
That's it. But I don't want to work anywhere else. I'll retire from real estate and have music as my hobby and love of my life on the back burner. So, yeah.
Well, the way you talk about Mark, and look, to open up a whole business, it means that you have some interest in this. And the way you talk about him, it means that he likes seeing people get houses and get their own homes, and being a homeowner is just it's a wonderful feeling. Yeah, all the problems of that house are yours, but all the good of that house is yours as well.
It's the American dream.
Yes, to have your own piece of America. And this is mine. This KeysDAN land over there. That's Jenice land over there. The Alexander compound. I have to call it a compound because there's so many people there.
Oh, there is. Yeah, we still have 5 in the home now. The oldest 3 have moved out. So.
All right.
Yeah, they're successful. Whitley works at the Stem Cell Research Center in Little Rock, and Victoria lives in Morrilton, and Alexis is here in Conway. Hopefully in the next year or two. I've got one getting married this year in July. Victoria will marry, and then next year in October, Alexis will get married.
All right.
And I feel like it's just going to be step after step after step. So
Stem cell research.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast.
I know, right?
Tell me everything.
Yeah, you'll have to get Whitley on here and get her to do a podcast with you.
For sure.
Yeah, she seems to enjoy it there.
So anybody trying to get into real estate, what do you recommend?
Go talk to Danny Bean at Arkansas Real Estate School. Get your classes underway.
Where is that?
That's on Rodney Parham in Little Rock.
Oh, in Little Rock.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. He has hours that will work around whatever schedule that you have, and get that knocked out. And be prepared to pick out your firm. Go and interview. Pick out your firm. See who you connect with. I interviewed with 4 or 5 different companies in the Conway area, and I had to feel that connection, and I have that connection here. Wanda is our executive broker. She does the recruiting and the hiring, and she took me to lunch 3 different times, and I was still unsure, because when you're having that 17-year career at one place and you're on the cliff and you're about to take a jump, you got to know that's got to be the right spot. I couldn't set myself up for failure, so I was highly selective. And I think the one thing that made me end up choosing Legacy was right before we went to eat, Wanda said, do you mind if I just stop and pray? And she closed her eyes and she held my hand and she prayed with such sincerity and passion for God that I knew that was the right place that God was leading me. And so I came here, and it's been remarkable. awards stacking up and crowns and trophies, and it's been awesome. So I get to got back from Las Vegas this year, went to Orlando last year, so they do different conferences, and I get to fly, and I've never flown before ever in a plane ever. I was absolutely petrified. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, first time up in a plane. And we're supposed to fly to Las Vegas for a conference, and we go to get on the plane, and there's a thunderstorm, and they delay the flight, and then they cancel the flight, and then we take a 2.5-hour drive to St. Louis from Bentonville trying to catch the same flight to Las Vegas, and they cancel that flight, and we go back and eventually catch it out of Bentonville. And it was, once I got on it, it was fine. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. I just had it mentally built up that because I like to sing and I've seen all the Patsy Cline and Richie Valens movies, I was going to die. But it worked out fine, and I love to fly now. So I get to travel and meet people all the time.
Well, I remember the commercials for Century 21 back in the 80s. You still wear the gold jacket?
The gold jacket. I got to see the gold jacket in Las Vegas. The international agents that came over from China and Japan were all wearing the gold jackets. It was such a trip. We were talking just this past year about we need to bring back the gold jackets. So,
you do.
I thought it was cool because it's a memento. People recognize that. They absolutely do. We had a new logo change this year. No, it was last year, which has been phenomenal. The C21 in the center there. That's our new logo, and it's been really, really cool. So I'm digging all the new stuff that corporate's coming out with to help us. Hashtag relentless. Look that up. Hopefully you see some pictures. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're finally in the 21st century, so that's it makes it well. So as we're rounding this out, anything else? Any last words for the people?
Oh, last words. Come out to karaoke anytime you see KeysDAN doing karaoke. And he has a pocket on his shirt most of the times. That pocket is for tip money. Tip your local karaoke guy. It's such a good therapy, and I enjoy when you allow us to come out and sing. And then real estate. If you need anything real estate, thinking of buying or selling anytime now or in the near future, please reach out to me. My cell phone number is 501-908-4452. Call me, text me, and we'll do what we can to service your real estate needs.
How they find you on social media or out there?
Jenice Alexander, Jenice Alexander. You should be able to find me there. I think you still have videos of me singing on your YouTube, and I'll go back and listen.
Better believe it.
Every once in a while.
Karaoke by KeysDAN YouTube. Find Jenice Alexander for sure. And okay, I'll definitely put this all in the show notes and let people have the social media.
Thank you.
But so good to talk to you, Miss Jenice Alexander.
I appreciate you coming in.
Man, I love this podcast.
Hey.
And I'm hashtag what makes you famous. So look it up.
Yeah.
Jenice Alexander, you feel like we got it all?
I feel like we got it all. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jenice. Party people, there you have it. Everyone has a story. Jenice Alexander has a story. She started in orphanages, because mom and dad couldn't take care of her at the time. Dad's out in the trucks. Mom, having some health issues. So, not all people in orphanages are orphans. They get taken care of when moms and dads just can't handle it at the time. And then as soon as they got it back together, she's back in the house. Love it. So beautiful. Such a nice story. And the family stays together. That's beautiful. And she got instilled with that family value, so much so that she started her own family. And she is instilling those core values that she learned, some in the orphanage and some at home, and she's instilling them into her own children. So you learned a little bit about parenting. I learned a little bit about parenting in this podcast. And she has had some hardships, some relationships, thankfully, sometimes things don't work out, but she got some kids out of it, some great kids, and that's a good thing. And then working with the Heritage and the Special Olympics. Yeah. And then ultimately finding her goal of being a real estate agent. And all throughout this whole life, singing, music has been a big part of it. And she's also bringing that to her family as well. So nice to have Jenice Alexander on the podcast. She's got a good home life. Thanks to the Mr. Man. Got to give him a shout out. Josh, you're the goods, man. You're the goods. Take care of that home and put that nice safety magic bubble around the kids and the wife. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's nice to come home to somebody, to come home to a nice home. And, oh yeah, Jenice Alexander, she can help you get into that home. I encourage you, if you're in the Central Arkansas area, call Jenice Alexander and find out how to get a house. Get your piece of America. Yeah, it's the American dream, right? Part of it is to have your own home. And Jenice Alexander is trying to fill that dream, help people fulfill their dreams at Century 21 in Conway, Arkansas. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. If you want to be a part of the show, tell your story on what makes you famous, I encourage you. Give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for the program. For now, there'll be more to come. Thank you so much. This is KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Radio What, the music you want. Hey guys, this is Shelly G with a fast fact. It will take a person more than 400 years to watch all the videos on YouTube. Do you have a fast fact? Share it with us at Interactive Radio, RadioWhat.com.
Tweet, yo. Follow Radio What on Twitter at Radio What Twit. Tweet, yo.